Yeah, you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another TNINews video. And for today's video, what I wanted to do is, it's going to be all Marvel Legend focus, and what I really wanted to do is just kind of recap everything that we learned last weekend at Toy Fair, and a few things that we knew before Toy Fair, and just kind of give you a rundown of everything we know that's coming for the line up until this point. And it's only February, it's only the second month of the year, and already like 3 different waves have hit shelves, and a couple of exclusives have started hitting shelves. So even though the year is just starting, a lot of stuff for the year is already out on the shelves. But we got a lot more stuff coming, and there's even stuff that we don't even know about yet that will be revealed at future conventions like San Diego. So a lot more surprises for the year. But again, because so much information gets thrown at us with this line, all at one time and everything, I just kind of wanted to recap. Now, I do have a written version of this report up at Marvelous News. I posted it the other day. I will put a link to it, which, if you want to look at the images more and just kind of read through everything, because again, there is a lot of information to kind of take in. And some of the, I'm going to give you some release dates, which are, they can change, and they're not, like, I don't have a specific date. We're going to see such and such on this exact day, but just to give you a rough idea when we should start seeing a product hit the shelves for these things. And of course, it varies because a lot of times these figures hit overseas before they even hit here in the United States. And a lot of people will go online and buy them from overseas retailers or eBay or what have you. So, release dates are very subjective, but I will give you the best info I have so you know when to kind of expect a lot of this stuff. Some stuff I don't have any idea really, other than just later this year. So, and I'll let you know as we go along. So first of all, what has already come out for this year? So this year we've already seen on shelves the first wave or the second wave of Black Panther movie figures. This they first showed us at San Diego Comic-Con last year. Now technically these started coming out at the end of last year, but they still consider it a wave for 2019. So that's out on shelves. We've also seen on shelves the Spider-Man, the first wave of Spider-Man figures for this year, which has the Kingpin Build-A-Figure. Very cool Build-A-Figure, possibly one of the best figures we'll see this year. And then the final wave that's already on shelves is the Captain Marvel wave. This is with the Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure that hit shelves, started hitting shelves here in the U.S. Several weeks ago. So all 3 of those are on shelves. Hopefully you found the figures that you want from those various waves, if not all of them. And then besides those, we've also had a few exclusives. So the Supreme Hydra Set, the Mystique figure, the Walgreens exclusive Mystique figure has just now started hitting shelves here in the U.S. It had been hitting shelves overseas, but I've started hearing reports of people finding it at their local Walgreens stores here in the U.S. It is not yet up on their website, but I would suspect that we will be seeing it there pretty soon. It probably won't last very long, but I do imagine they'll have it up there probably within the next couple of weeks. Now, there are 2 other store exclusives which have started hitting overseas and should be hitting here in the U.S. any day now, and that is the Star Force Captain Marvel figure with the green outfit. That is a Target store exclusive here in the U.S., and again, I suspect we'll start seeing that on shelves very soon here. And the second one is also Captain Marvel related. It's the binary version with the translucent hair and the power effects. That is a Walmart exclusive. Again, it has started hitting overseas. It actually just now started hitting overseas, so probably we won't see that one here in the U.S. for a couple of more weeks. 2 other mentions that have seen release overseas are the Professor Xavier with the hover chair and the Deadpool with the scooter bike. I don't think those have started showing up here in the U.S. just yet. Probably any day now, but those have been found, I believe, in Canada. So, you've seen people post reviews and stuff because they've been buying them from friends in Canada or e-tailers in Canada or what have you, or eBay or what have you. So, again, those I don't think have started hitting here in the U.S., but it should be any day now. Now, what can we expect to come? So the next wave that I think will be released after the ones that are already out on shelves now is the first Avengers-themed wave of the year. Now, we don't even know all the figures in this wave because this wave will include several Avengers Endgame movie figures, which Hasbro can't yet talk about. And my guess is we'll actually see those figures leak out on shelves and such before Hasbro can actually tell us what is in the wave. But we do know the comic book base figures for this wave. So this wave is going to include the Citizen V figure, Living Laser, Hercules, which actually has been up on eBay, Nighthawk, I think that one and Living Laser were also up on eBay, and then the Avengers Infinity War Ebony Maw figure from the Black Order, that is going to be part of this wave as well. Now, there have been several rumors about this wave, and there's actually been some conflicting rumors, but I would guess that there's a good chance we are going to see like Captain America in this wave, possibly Ronin, and then rumored to be the Build-A-Figure is Thanos. Now, I believe that wave will start hitting towards the end of March. After that, we should see the Target exclusive 2-packs that have been announced. That's the Kraven Last Hunt 2-pack that we saw at New York Comic Con, and that's going to have the Spider-Man symbiote black costume with the unmasked Peter Parker beat up head, and then a new Kraven the Hunter figure. That went up for pre-order along with the second one that was announced here or last weekend at Toy Fair, which is a Spider-Man Homecoming 2-pack featuring Spider-Man wearing that yellow sports jacket and Mary Jane, MJ. And that also went up for pre-order. But last time I checked the Target site, both of those 2-packs were listed as sold out. So I know they went up last weekend during Toy Fair, and so I guess they sold out pretty quickly. But I don't honestly think you'll have too hard a time finding those once they actually see release. And those figures were listed, those 2-packs were listed with an April 21st, 2019 release date. That's what they had listed on the Target website. Okay, and then that should bring us to the first wave of X-Men figures for this year. So websites put this wave up for pre-order last weekend, again during Toy Fair, and they're all listing this wave with a May release date. Now, I would not be surprised if we don't see them a little bit sooner, but again, that's right now what e-tailers are listing as the release date is May. And just to recap, that wave is going to include the Skullbuster, the Reverse Skullbuster, the Jim Lee style Jubilee figure with the bubblegum, Blink, Forge wearing the yellow and blue outfit, Weapon X / Wolverine, the Jim Lee style Beast, which is probably the most popular figure in that wave, followed by Gambit, which is also a very popular one. Now, the Build-A-Figure for that wave is going to be Caliban. Okay, now after that, it's a little iffy on exactly what will get released when, so I really don't have release dates for anything going forward. I do suspect we'll see a lot of this stuff before San Diego Comic-Con or right about the time of San Diego Comic-Con in July. So, I would say just as a guesstimate, you're probably looking at a July-August timeframe. But, we saw at Toy Fair last weekend the new X-Force wave. We'd actually seen some of these figures already. But Guardian, which we saw last year, it was announced last year. We're getting Boom Boom, and she, even though what was on display didn't have it, she will have Bubblegum, and also Cannonball, which is going to have blast effects for his legs. Now, I've seen people, I don't think Hasbro, at least they didn't confirm it to me one way or the other. I hope that they include a normal pair of legs that you can switch out with these blast effects. That seems like kind of a standard thing, you would think, but there was no legs shown, so I can't, and I didn't specifically ask Hasbro, so I can't say one way or the other. But again, even if, like, say, they initially weren't planning it, I hope they do decide to include regular legs that you can switch out with this figure. So Cannonball, and then Nightcrawler, that was another big reveal last weekend. A little bit of controversy because they did not include the bendy wire with the tail. It would have been nice, but I still think it's a pretty nice looking figure. Now, whether it's nicer than the Toy Biz one, Toy Biz one is a very solid figure even by today's standards, so I don't know. It's hard to say. But, if you don't have the Toy Biz one, which a lot of you probably don't, this is definitely looks like a very nice figure, even though it doesn't have the bendy wire in the tail. And Hasbro said that the reason they didn't include it with this one is because of safety regulations. They abide by a high standard of safety regulations, and that particular style of tail was just too thin for them to be able to include bendy wire. And then the other figure that was shown is Mr. Sinister, which again looked very good. I think people will be happy with that one. I don't know. They didn't say specifically. I would think that maybe that would be the Build-A-Figure. However, the one kind of mystery, and this figure totally slipped my mind last weekend at Toy Fair, but last year at the Canadian Fan Expo, they showed off a Wendigo figure, and I thought they had said that was going to be part of this X-Force wave. Maybe we just made the assumption, I don't know. But the figure was not actually shown or mentioned the last weekend at Toy Fair. So I don't want to say 100% that the Wendigo is going to be part of this X-Force wave. It seems like the most likely place you would put it. But then if Wendigo and Sinister are both going to be in this wave, it begs to question which one is going to be the Build-A-Figure. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay, then next up we have the second wave of Spider-Man themed figures for 2019. And that wave, what we know at least, is going to include 2 figures from the upcoming Spider-Man Far From Home movie. So it's going to include Spider-Man in his regular outfit that we've seen in the trailers. Looks a little bit different than the Homecoming version. Seems to have more black in it and such. And then also we're getting a stealth suit Spider-Man, an all-black outfit that I guess he wears at some point in the movie. So those are the 2 movie figures that they showed us. And there's possibility for 2 more figures in this wave. And I'm guessing we will probably see some more movie figures. I'm hoping Mysterio. It would have been cool. I don't know, since he was in the trailer, I don't know why they couldn't have shown Mysterio. But I'm guessing there's a good chance that he will be one of the 2 figures yet to be revealed for this wave. But the rest of the figures that we know about in this wave are all comic book based. And so we're getting a new classic costume Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman. We're getting the Doppelganger, which is a of that 6-armed Spider-Man. I know a lot of you weren't terribly thrilled with the articulation on that figure, but it makes perfect sense for the Doppelganger. So, I'm not surprised that they went that route. We're getting Hydra Man, which I think was actually one of my favorites that I saw last weekend. I really like that they're including alternate arms, and which, one of the arms are normal and one of the arms look like water with the translucent plastic. He also has what they call puddle feet, which you can put around his feet, so it looks like his feet are turning into water as well. And definitely the head sculpt in this figure looks a lot like William Dafoe. I don't know if that's just coincidence, but I definitely see some resemblance between the two. But again, I think this is just a great looking figure overall. Now, it's possible this could be the Build-A-Figure just because it's got so many alternate parts to it. But just based on the body mold itself, it's probably not. I don't think we know what the Build-A-Figure for this wave is going to be. So that it looks like it's still pretty much a mystery for this line. And then the other figure that we saw revealed for this wave is a new Scorpion figure. And again, this is a very cool looking Scorpion. Looks very realistic. I like the metallic green that they use. This particular figure, which is said to be about 13 inches long, does have bendy wire in it because it's a bigger tail and everything. So that one you'll definitely be able to pose the tail on. And again, I think that is a very nice looking figure that they did. Then next up, we have a second wave of Avengers figures. And again, this wave should have some movie figures in it, which we don't know what they are at this point. We don't even know for sure if this figure is going to have, if this wave is going to include 6 figures or 7 figures. Last year's second Avengers wave, I believe, only included 6. So, we'll have to see how it plays out. But what we do know is coming for this wave is we know this is where they're going to be sticking the Black Panther Shuri figure. So they teased that at San Diego Comic-Con last year, and we're getting we got our first look at it at Toy Fair last weekend, and that's going to be in the second wave of Avengers figures. That's also going to include comic book versions of Loki. We saw that figure revealed last year. Beta Ray Bill, Union Jack, which again we saw revealed last year. And then revealed for the first time last weekend with Serpent Society member Rock Python. Those, again, are the only figures we know. So we've got probably 1 or 2 more figures and a Build-A-Figure to be revealed in this wave. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm guessing the remaining figures that we don't know about in this wave will be endgame based. The third figure in the Riders series this year is going to be an Ultimates World War II Captain America with motorcycle. So Cap is going to have an army helmet. Of course, it's blue with the A on it, but it's an army type helmet. And then he's also going to have the classic triangle shield. And the motorcycle, again, looks pretty authentic to World War II. And that's the third figure. Again, we got Professor Xavier and the Deadpool with Scooter, which should be hitting shelves any day now. And this will be out later in the year. I think that's it for this line, but you never know. They might try and slip something else out. And then for roleplay fans, if you've been collecting the premium roleplay stuff, the helmets and such, they announced that they're going to be doing Ant-Man's helmet. It's going to have 2 LED light modes, and it will have an adjustable fit, so you can hopefully it will fit comfortably on you. And no, it does not actually shrink down, even though Hasbro did try and pretend to say it did. Okay, now that's it for regular stuff, at least that we know about up until this point. But I also want to tell you about several different sublines that Hasbro is going to be doing for the Marvel Legend line this year. So first of all, a continuation of the Toy Biz tribute waves. They are now going to be doing X-Men as opposed to regular superheroes. They're going to be doing the X-Men ones. If you're not familiar with the old Toy Biz 5-inch figures, they started out initially doing figures of just regular superheroes. I mean, they did some X-Men like Wolverine. But then as X-Men got popular with the cartoon and everything, they started just cranking out tons and tons of X-Men based figures or mutant based figures, and they did have a little bit different packaging. They had orange card backs, they had the X-Men logo clearly displayed on it and everything. And the figures themselves were same scale, same design and everything as the regular superhero figures, but because X-Men were so popular, they essentially got their own packaging. So Hasbro's now doing their own tribute to that, and the big difference besides the packaging of what they did previously with the regular Toy Biz retro line is these are mostly new figures, not just repaints like they'd been doing. And they said because they had more time to plan this is why these are new, and the previous ones were essentially just repaints. But first of all, we know they're doing 6 figures in the first wave, and they announced 4 of them at Toy Fair last weekend. So there's still 2 more figures in this wave that we don't know about. But we're going to be getting Cyclops in his X-Factor blue and white outfit. And the cool thing about this figure is he's going to come with optic blast effects. So something that's kind of missing in the Jim Lee style version that they did. So unfortunately, I don't know if if you can use these I doubt you'll be able to use these optic blasts with like your Jim Lee X-Men, but I don't know because I don't know exactly how these will be attaching. But I'm guessing there's little holes in the visor or something that you can plug them into. So I don't think it'll be compatible unless you do some modifications. But it's cool that they included that. We're also getting a new Dazzler figure. So Dazzler in her 90s outfit. We went from her 70s outfit with the roller skates now with her 90s outfit. I think she wears something a little bit different today, but still I think it's a blue outfit, so it's very similar. But this is really what she was wearing in the 90s. She's got the leather jacket and everything, the short blonde hair. So this is my favorite version of Dazzler, so definitely glad that they're doing that. We're getting Silver Samurai. He's going to be released in this line. And then Patch, who is essentially Wolverine. When they first launched the Wolverine solo comic, he was in Mandapore, and he went by this alias Patch, wearing this weird kind of webbing mask over his eyes and such. So they're making a figure of that, which, again, they had done back in the day with the 5-inch line. So definitely those are all cool, and interested to see what the final 2 figures for this subline will be. Okay, and then for another subline that is continuing from last year, the MCU 10th anniversary line, even though technically they're not calling it the 10th anniversary because it's no longer been 10 years, it's now been 11 years, but it is essentially just a continuation of that with movie figures. It is going to have different packaging than the normal Marvel Legends and everything. I think actually technically it's kind of being lumped in with the 80th anniversary stuff, which I'll get to in a moment, but really what this is just a continuation of last year's MCU line. So we're getting a number of 2-packs with these. The first one is based on the Captain America First Avenger movie, and we're getting Captain America / Steve Rogers, and we're getting another younger looking Chris Evans head sculpt, which looks really good, I think. One of the better Chris Evans head sculpts that they've done to date, I think. And then the second figure in this set is Peggy Carter. So again, these are based on the characters during World War II, so they're younger. The Captain America's got the triangle shield, and he's wearing a leather jacket and everything. Looks pretty good. And then the Peggy Carter, I think, looks dead on. You could use this, she had her own TV series for a little while. But definitely, I think they nailed the head sculpt with this one, at least if the final version ends up looking like what they had on display at Toy Fair last weekend. Now, that set is going to be released as an Amazon exclusive. The next set that they announced is Loki from Infinity War, along with Corvus Glaive. So we saw the Glaive figure at New York Comic Con, but they didn't tell us how it was being released. So it is going to be released as a 2-pack with a Loki figure, a new Loki. And this set is going to be released as a Walmart exclusive. And then for general release, we're going to be getting an additional Avengers Infinity War 2-pack. Now this one I'm really excited about, even though on one hand I'm a little irked that these aren't the figures we initially got. I'm going to have to buy these figures again. I'm definitely glad they went back and redid these figures. So the first one is Iron Spider-Man, and he will feature the mechanical arms as the original should have. And then also it looks like they've corrected the gauntlets on his wrists and stuff. They look more movie accurate. So just overall better looking figure. And then the second figure, which is the one I'm really excited about, is an updated Iron Man Mark 50. This one will actually include a lot of the accessories, the weapons that you saw him use in the movie. Fortunately, it does not have the wings on the back, but will have arm cannons, has the shield. And what is really cool is the floating cannons that you saw him use towards the beginning of the movie. Looks like they're using a translucent little stand that you can put those up behind the figure on. The stand should be included in everything. So definitely excited about that one. The other two packs, or the next two packs, are Thor Ragnarok related. So we're getting one with an updated Hela figure. Looks much better than the original one. And she's going to be included with the Scourge character, who will have his M16 machine guns. And the second Thor Ragnarok 2-pack is going to have Grandmaster, so we're getting another Jeff Goldblum action figure. Mattel's doing Jurassic Park, and now we're getting Grandmaster. And he's going to come with Korg, and the Korg figure looks very good. I definitely like Korg. And then the final 2-pack that they announced for this line is going to be based on the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, and we're getting the Ghost, the villain of the movie, which looks good. I don't know if there's an unmasked head. I don't think so, but I can't say 100%. And then Luis or Michael Pena, the character Ant-Man's friend and everything, and he's going to come with a shrunk down Hank Pym building. Now I do got to say it's a little bit odd that we are not actually getting Hank Pym himself. It would seem like that would be the next logical candidate for doing a figure if you're going to do more Ant-Man and the Wasp figures. But I'm wondering if maybe likeness rights were held up with him or something. With most of the actors, probably the studio owns the likeness rights, but with Michael Douglas, he's a high enough caliber actor that maybe he was able to hold on to those, and so that maybe caused problems. Just speculating, but I just thought it was strange that they didn't do Hank Pym and they're doing the Michael Pena character instead. And then the final subline that they announced, I briefly mentioned it before, that's the 80th anniversary comic book line. So Marvel Comics this year, and I've talked about this in other videos, but Marvel Comics is celebrating 80 years this year, 2019. And so with that, they're doing this tribute line of comic book figures, which I think all look incredible. So the first one they announced was a 2-pack featuring the Incredible Hulk, which is probably the best looking comic book based Hulk figure that Hasbro has done for the Marvel Legend line. It's going to have his shirt that's kind of torn so you can put on his shoulders. Has a very classic TV series look to it and everything. And then the first appearance Wolverine figure. So I can't say I know some of you are excited about that, but the Wolverine figures is the least exciting. But that Hulk figure, I definitely want to add to my collection. The second 2-pack they announced, which is equally cool, is Juggernaut with a classic Jim Lee style Colossus figure. So, they didn't just stick repaints of the previous Colossus. We're getting an all new Jim Lee style, which I'm very excited for. The Juggernaut figure looks pretty good as well. It's going to have an alternate head, beat up head with a cracked mask, which looks pretty good. But what I'm really excited about with this set is that Colossus figure so that I can round out my Jim Lee X-Men. And then besides the 2-packs they announced for this line, 3 single-pack figures. So we're getting Captain America, and these are all based on Alex Ross artwork. And so Captain America, he's got the sculpted chainmail on his shirt, which is the first time we've seen Hasbro attempt that. Toy Biz did it back in the day, but this is the first time we're getting a Cap figure with the sculpted chainmail, which looks pretty good in the images that we've seen. It's going to have 2 alternate heads, but honestly, if you look at them, they look very similar to one another, so I'm not entirely sure. And then we're also getting Iron Man. Now, the weird thing about the Iron Man figure is there was kind of 2 versions they showed of this figure. One in the package, which really didn't look very shiny, and then one on the shelf, which did. We suspect that the one we're actually going to see release is the one that was on the shelf, the shiny version. That's how an Alex Ross Iron Man should look. So I definitely hope that's the version that we get. But and then the one that was in the packaging, I think, is just an earlier prototype. So I do think the final version will have the shiny armor. He's going to have 2 helmeted heads and then an unmasked Tony Stark head, a young-looking Tony Stark head. So that's definitely nice. And then the third figure that they showed was Thor, Classic Thor. So this looks very much like the old Toy Biz figure as far as the overall look of it, but just, modern with a modern sculpt. Looks really good. It's got the hammer with the engraving on it and everything. So again, this is a great looking figure. I definitely plan on picking up all these 80th anniversary figures. And the packaging on these figures is going to feature classic comic book art that pays tribute to what the figures are based on and everything. So, definitely kind of a cool added touch. Okay, now the final thing I wanted to share with you is just a couple more store exclusives that were announced last weekend. So the first one, which I think is probably the coolest, is the Brotherhoods of Evil Mutants 3-pack featuring an updated Magneto figure, which I know many of you had been wanting in the classic red colors. And then we're also getting an updated Scarlet Witch figure, which looks really good, looks better than the previous one that they did. I love the head sculpt on that Scarlet Witch. and then a new Quicksilver figure, which definitely the line was in need of getting an updated version of, because the first one they did back in the early days when they got the license just was not a very good figure. So all three of those figures I think will be nice additions to the collection. Now that set is currently up for pre-order on the Amazon website. It is an Amazon exclusive, and Amazon currently is listing it with a July 1st release date. And then the final two exclusives that were announced are both coming to Walgreens following the Mystique figure, which again is hitting shelves now. The first one, and I don't know the exact order in which these figures will be released. They both will be released this year, but I don't know which one's going to come first. But the two figures they announced, the first one was the infamous Iron Man, which you probably know is actually Dr. Doom. You know, Doom got his own comic. They called it the infamous Iron Man. He assumed the identity of Iron Man, and he wore this Iron Man-like armor. It does have the green tint to it, but looks more like Iron Man than Doom. Does have the traditional green cape and hood, so that definitely has the look and feel of Doom. It's a nice looking figure. If I had to choose, I probably would have rather seen them do a classic Doctor Doom figure, which hopefully Hasbro will still do at some point. But, you know, this isn't a bad looking figure. The second figure they announced, which also is coming to Walgreens, is a new Emma Frost figure wearing the black outfit. Now, your number one complaint I've seen for this figure is she just does not really look like Emma Frost. They're not using the Moonstone sculpt. She's just not as endowed as the Emma Frost character is in the comics. I get what you guys are saying, but I think, you know, Hasbro pretty much has to go with what's appropriate by today's standards, and this is more so in keeping with that. So, you know, it's not a bad looking figure. The head sculpt, you know, doesn't look bad. She's got the black lipstick and everything. You know, I can't say I've been dying for an Emma Frost in the black outfit, but, you know, if that's what you like, then I think you'll want to check this one out. Okay, so that's it for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything we talked about. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm getting very close. I'm under 400 to go till I hit the 50,000 mark. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button and also the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts, or you can head over to the Marvelous News message boards and check me out there, and then also be entered for a chance to win a $100 store credit to either your choice of Big Bad Toy Store or Megalopolis Toys. If you want more details about that particular contest, if you haven't seen me talk about it in previous videos, I will put a link to that in the video description below. Until next time, guys, catch you later.